Hello. As the Director for the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, and on behalf of the City and County of Denver, we welcome you, your family, and friends as new members of our Denver community. We hope you find the following information to be a helpful resource and guide to connecting with our city agencies. Thank you for your time, and again, welcome to Denver.
Assistance prior to COVID-19, that's what it's called. Now we've added an additional title, emergency assistance. You can see it encompasses so many things: emergency shelter for families, rental assistance, deposit, eviction, and mortgage assistance. You have burial assistance. You have family reunification, and then food and pharmacy vouchers.
Here's our information. So I will be going over a lot of resources today. I want to make clear that when you call into our number, there are several language interpretations. There's several languages available. So if you feel more comfortable speaking in a different language and getting this information in a language that's native to you, we have that service at our number. Next slide, please. So I wanted to highlight some of the benefits that you can apply for online, applying for benefits such as food assistance through our SNAP program. We also have cash assistance for families with our TANF and Colorado Works program. We have our medical benefits for adults and for children alike. We have CCAP, the Child Care Assistance Program, LEAP, which is our utility assistance for light and gas. We have rental and eviction assistance through our general assistance services. If you've lost a loved one or a family member during this time, we do offer burial assistance. Again, that's through our general assistance services. And we also have tax relief or property tax rebate programs, which all of this is accessible online at our website that I mentioned earlier. In addition, if you already have a case at Human Services and you need to update your address or report changes, submit documents, you can do all of that through our online services, or you can call into our number and we can help you that way. Next, I wanted to talk about that we understand not everybody has access to online services. We understand that there are folks in the community who have mobility issues, who may be confined to your home if you're quarantined. So we have launched a document runner service program that will deliver our applications right to your doorstep. And the number that's on the screen, 720-944-1520, is the number that you would call to get an application delivered right to your doorstep. So if you or your family member, or if you know of a neighbor who might be in need, who might be confined to their home, please feel free to call our number and we can have one of our workers deliver this right to your home. So lastly, next slide, please. And there are paper applications and secure drop-off boxes at all of our locations. We have 3 locations, our main building at 1200 Federal Boulevard. We also have an east office in the GES neighborhood, 3815 Still Street. And lastly, we have an office that covers all of the Green Valley, Montbello area on 5685 Peoria. They are secure drop-off boxes, so you can drop off your applications there.
Typical questions that we're going to ask whenever you call 911. What is the address of your emergency? That's the most important and the very first question that we ask. Obviously, we can't send help to an address that we don't have or that you don't know. Now, granted, with that last part that you don't know where you are, that's a caveat of what I just showed you earlier, that we can actually have a pretty good understanding of where you are. But that's the most important. You can tell us everything that's going on in your incident. but without an address, it's very difficult for us to send help to you, and it slows down the response. So if you can always know where you are, or at least give us some intersections, or know that you're, 2 houses south of, or 3 houses south of Iliff and Adams, so to speak, that would be tremendously helpful. Or if you're on the highway, knowing what exit you're by, telling us that there are certain landmarks near you can definitely help, because our ECTs, our technicians and our dispatchers are highly trained, and they're geographical experts within the city, which is pretty cool. So when did this incident occur? We want to know if it happened 2 minutes ago or 2 days ago. That makes a difference in terms of the police response. We'll always ask, are there any weapons involved in this situation, just for officer safety, and also for paramedic and Denver firefighters safety as well too, because they don't have a way to protect themselves like the police officers do. So want to make sure that we're keeping all of our responders safe out there. Has anyone been drinking or using drugs? Obviously that's important due to someone being under the influence and not being able to make the best decisions for them within this incident. And obviously it's responder safety as well for all those folks out there too. Is anybody injured? If anybody's injured in a fender bender accident, if you say it's a fender bender, it just seems like you just kind of bumped somebody, we're going to treat that as an accident with no injury. And then we're going to ask if you are injured, so we can bump that up from an accident no injury to maybe an accident with injury. And then you'll get the firefighters and the paramedics to respond as well, in addition to the police officers. And then we'll be asking suspect information. We ask a lot of questions. We can ask them quickly as long as you're able to answer them quickly. We need to know what the suspects look like in any situation. What's the phone number you're calling from, so we can call you back, whether you're a victim or a witness or need any sort of follow-up to the incident that you called us for. And then do you want any contact from officers? People, this is always a big question within these My City Academies, do you have to talk to officers? No, absolutely not. You don't have to. If you wish to, great. Or if you witness something that is important, the officers would like to follow up with you, but you absolutely do not have to talk to officers, whether it be in person or over the phone. If you only want them to make a phone call to you for a follow-up, no problem. I understand that having police officers show up at your house whenever you're calling for your neighbors can be obviously an issue going forward in the future. So totally understand if you don't want contact from officers. And then there's some frequently asked questions for 911 services. How long is it going to take for officers to respond? We don't know. It just depends on the day, the time of day. You saw earlier, 5 p.m. in the afternoon, it may take us or may take them longer to respond to your incident than it would be if it was 4 o'clock in the morning. Obviously less going on within the city, but we never give out any sort of estimated times of arrival because you just don't know how long it's going to take for an officer to get there. 911 calls are prioritized based upon, life and property. So if there's an imminent risk of life and property, obviously we're going to get those officers quicker to those calls. But if your bike was stolen 2 weeks ago, it might take officer a little bit longer to get there. Just due to it being a property steal from obviously 2 weeks ago. So, and then what happens if I accidentally call 911? It's okay, just stay on the phone. If you give your phone, I have a 6-month-old and a 2.5-year-old at home, and sometimes they play with our phone, and I don't think that they've called 911 yet, because I make sure that I watch them closely. But if you do, or if your children do, just make sure you just stay on the phone with them, and we'll answer, and you can just tell us that everything's okay, because we'll call you back, bug you, and make sure that everything's okay, because sometimes it happens when people will call 911 and they're in some sort of incident where they can't communicate to us because, Lord forbid, they're being assaulted, or they have fallen, they can't get up. So we understand, we get it. Questions at the end. If you're going to call 911, obviously you can dial us or text us. We prefer you call us at 911. It's faster, and we can get information to officers or the paramedics or the firefighters more quickly. And then there's our non-emergency number, 913-2000. So for any of those cold incidents that happened 2 weeks ago, you can call a non-emergency. I'm not going to sit there and tell you what your definition of an emergency should be, or what ours is, or what mine is, or Maria's, or Captain Pixley's. Everybody has a different understanding of what an emergency is. So, if you think it's an imminent threat to life or property, please call 911. But if it's not, use that non-emergency number so we can prioritize those 911 calls. And then over there on the right-hand side are deaf and hearing impaired phone numbers. If you can't communicate for whatever reason on the phone, we have those phone numbers that sit throughout the center, and we're able to respond to those. Those are not a replacement for 911. You can actually physically text 911, but those phone numbers you can either call or text us, and we will get back to those as soon as we can.
There are many reasons why you would have an encounter with a police officer, and the following are just a couple tips of how to have a safe and effective encounter. If you are pulled over while driving a vehicle, first of all, you need to have 3 things while operating a vehicle: your driver's license, a valid driver's license, insurance. The vehicle must be insured and registered. Okay, those are important to know when operating a vehicle here in our in the state. If you are being pulled over, it's okay, breathe. Everyone gets nervous. I still get nervous. It's important to know that, you can take a second, breathe, pull over to the right as soon as it is safe to do so. And you can indicate that by using your signal light or your hazard lights, just so that the officer is aware that you're being pulled over and that you're trying to get over to the right-hand lane. Roll down your windows. If you have dark tinted windows, I always appreciate it if, when people roll down all of their windows. You don't have to, but it puts the officers at ease. It'll put you at ease. Roll down the windows, stay in the vehicle, leave your hands on the steering wheel. Don't reach for any of your documents until asked to do so. And when you are, again, when the officer does approach you, you'll know who he or she is and the reason why you are being pulled over. And if they don't give that to you, they don't give that reason, you are free to ask. Ask as many questions as, make you feel comfortable. Okay, but you do need to provide the officer with your driver's license, insurance, and registration when asked. Again, don't reach for items until the officer is asked for those items. And don't leave the traffic stop until the officer instructs you or lets you know, okay, we're done here. If the officer asks you to step out of the vehicle, that might be because there's a lot of movement, or it just, makes the officer feel a little bit more at ease, just bringing you out. It doesn't mean, this, that, or the other. It's just something the officer might ask you to do. While outside of the vehicle, keep your arms and your hands visible. Try not to put them in your pocket. Again, people get nervous and tend to put their hands in their pockets. Try not to do that. And then answer the questions truthfully when asked, and remain where you are until the officer completes the questions. You will be free to go unless the officer has a reason to detain you. Try to always carry identification with you. Whatever that is, try to always have identification with you so that can avoid a case of mistaken identity. And then this one's important. We don't have too many cases of this, but if you are concerned that you are encountering a police impersonator, call 911 immediately to report it. Okay, if you don't feel comfortable getting out of the vehicle, you can always call 911 to make sure that that is a real police officer who you are speaking to. Also, if you are not cited, if you do not receive a traffic citation or are detained and arrested, the officer should give you his or her business card. And that way you know who you spoke to. If you feel that you might have been treated unfairly, or you have questions, you don't quite understand what just happened, there is a number on the back of every business card that you can call and ask those questions and either, file a formal complaint or or you might even want to let someone know that the officer did a really good job. We always appreciate that also. When to call the police, and Tyler kind of touched on this already. There are two numbers, as Tyler had mentioned, the non-emergency number, which is the 720-913-2000, and the 911. If you don't know which number you should call, just call 911, and they'll triage it, I guess, is a good way to put it. So simple guidelines on when to call the police. When someone's safety is at risk or there's a threat or actual crime occurring, 911. 911 always, okay? If you need help right now or a crime is occurring right now, 911 is the number to call. Someone is forcing entrance into a home, loading items into a car from an unoccupied business or home, checking doors or windows. And that's a good one. When you call 911, you want to let them know what is suspicious to you. What is going on that prompted you to call 911? You know, someone is walking in my neighborhood and he looks suspicious. Well, we need you to give us a little bit more, okay? Because someone just looks suspicious, we're gonna need a little bit more than that. What is that person doing that is suspicious to you? Are they checking car doors to see if they're unlocked? Are they peering into windows? Are they checking, doors to homes? What is it that they're doing that looks suspicious, that looks out of the ordinary to you? Unusual noises such as dogs continually barking, gunshots breaking glass, screaming, alarms going off. That's what you'll want to let the call takers know as well. As many details as you can provide, the better information that the police have when they get there or on the way over. Abandoned vehicles, that's something that your community resource officer can also help you with. Or suspicious vehicles, driving around slowly, lights off. That's something that you would want to call in as well. And we get that sometimes you get nervous and you don't want to let your neighbors or anyone else know that you called, and you kind of just want to stay out of it. It is important to know that you can always remain anonymous. If you call and you just don't want that issue with your neighbor or your neighbors or anyone else, you can always call and say, hey, this is what's going on. It would make me feel comfortable if someone would check on it. However, I would like to remain anonymous. I don't want to let them know that they called because I want to avoid problems.
In case you haven't heard, Denver 311 is the central place to go for all Denver city services. Their call center is open 7 to 7 Monday through Friday, but now you can reach them on pocketgov.com 24/7.
Since 2006, 311 has been helping residents and visitors with city service complaints and inquiries. Now we work with 33 different departments to help you find what you're looking for. For your convenience, we offer PocketGov, where you can find DMV wait times, pay city-related bills, sign up for street sweeping reminders, and more.
So whether you have questions about trash services, code violations, or parking enforcement, Denver 311 and PocketGov are helping you navigate Denver city services. Since you can't always talk on the phone, PocketGov comes to the rescue with 311's new live chat feature, where you can ask about city services and chat with a live person. To find live chat, just go to pocketgov.com on your phone, tablet, or computer. If the blue button on the lower right side of the screen appears, someone is available to chat with you. Here you can ask questions and submit complaints, just like you would over the phone. There's even a feature to upload a file in case you took a picture of an incident or you want someone to take a look at a document you have questions about. If you reach 311 after hours or no one is currently available, you can always submit a case by clicking on the Report a Problem tab. Denver 311 and PocketGov are helping you navigate Denver city services.